know. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana. Hope you can hear me. I'm using my headphones, using my headset right now. Coming here to chop it up with the people about a few things that are happening on this channel. So I'm just going to get into it because I got only about, about an hour and a half until I have to get back to work. But I wanted to talk about something. And J3OSG said, yo, what up, J3, for jumping into the comments. Going to be reading all the chat. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, let me know. If I'm over here silent, it's cool. But I'm going to say this. So I got a comment on my channel about a few weeks ago. And of course, the person got blocked. They got deleted. They couldn't get into the conversation. But they left a comment and said, Simon, your channel sucks now. Your channel sucks. Stop these shitty movie reviews. I said, what? I said, bitch. I said, who are you talking to? See, this is why we need a TV show called Say That Shit Again. Because once again, all these wild commenters coming into the chat, talking mad spicy, wouldn't say shit to my face. But I'm going to talk about this. Why, Simon, are you doing mostly movie reviews on your channel now? Why? Why? It's not like they're blowing up. It's not like they're extra big. It's not like they're, how can I say this, super popular and stuff like that. Some are. Some actually did a lot. Like We Are Who We Are blew up and got a lot of views. It got around 600 views. It's the biggest review we've ever done. And I think a lot of that had to do with me going viral last week. Last week I went viral on Reddit. People were posting my content. So the latest video, of course, just got, excess views because of that, right? And I just want to say, I enjoy doing movie reviews, and I think movie reviews are important because something I've always said on my channel is that media matters. What we see on TV, what we see in film, what we see in front of us, in front of our own eyes is very important. So that's why I'm doing the movie reviews. I find them infinitely fascinating. I'm fascinated by culture. I'm fascinated by the stories that people tell and how the stories that are told in film can help illuminate our lives and let us know more about ourselves. So that's why I do the movie reviews. And I'm going to continue doing them because I enjoy chatting with my wife. I enjoy breaking down these topics because sometimes, listen, I see the views, I see the traction, I see the likes, the dislikes, the videos that make a ton of money, the videos that don't blow up until 6 months later, the videos that blow up instantly. I sort of get a feel on what people want to see. And the thing is, on YouTube, a lot of times people are just attracted to BS. They're attracted to the fuckery. I realize that a lot of people come on YouTube and they don't do the same thing that I do on YouTube or on social media, which is search for educational content in general. Of course, the occasional celebrity gossip, the occasional stuff that's happening with, fuckery, stupid stuff people do. But I come on here, usually on YouTube, and if you see my subscriptions, if you see my watch history, I'm watching a lot of docs, I'm watching a lot of just interviews with interesting people, keeping up with politics, learning about events that have happened and stuff like that. A lot of people are online and they just want the fuck shit. Well, we just gonna give them fuck shit. That's what they want. Y'all want to see that? We gonna do that. No, no, we're not gonna do that. What we're gonna do is talk about things that relate to culture, that relate to these ideas, and people can break down and be entertained by themselves. A lot of the times, you were right about to mention Diddy. Exactly. JS Ventress. JS Ventress, exactly. If I come on here and start talking about Diddy and start reading the Diddy case, because I broke down the Cassie Diddy case, and that video, my live stream got, quite a few views. But listen, Diddy might be a gay man, okay? All right, we're over it. There have been rumors for years Diddy's gay, okay? And so what? So what? Diddy's gay. I still don't believe Diddy's gay. But Diddy might be gay, okay? And who cares? I think we do care, though, because it would make us question a lot of what happened with Biggie and some of them Biggie bars when Biggie was talking about, girl, you look so good, I'd suck on your daddy's dick. We'd be like, Puffy, did you pass Biggie that line? Or when Biggie said, don't you know my nigga gutter fucking kidnap kids, fuck them in their ass, throw them over the bridge. You'd be like, Diddy, what the fuck was you making Big say? All that wild shit. So yeah, maybe Diddy's gay. Okay, and now the crazy thing is Meek might be gay. But see, this is the thing. I can sit here and rant all day and the views will go up, the likes will go up, and the comments will go up because we're over here chopping it up about fuck shit. We're over here chopping it up about stupid stuff. We're over here chopping it up about all the fuckery happening in the world and laughing at a black man's downfall. Is that what we want to do? Is that what we want to do with social media? Is this what we want to do? We want to laugh at other people's pain? Diddy ain't been the best guy to most people. Diddy robbed a lot of his artists. Diddy took advantage of a lot of people. But still, it's the music business. It's the music business. I don't see people getting at all the white execs that made sure our favorite celebrities, our favorite singers died poor, broke, and penniless. Nobody's turning up on all the white execs that robbed Motown, that robbed all the black celebrities, all the rock and roll artists and stuff like that, who died broke and penniless, or touring until they were 75 years old with diabetes, missing toes, pinkies, legs, all sorts of shit. Nobody's mad at them, but we want to get mad at Diddy because he might be a homosexual who plays fruity games with his boys. Okay, okay, all right. All right, this is what we're doing. JS Venture says, in the 90s, mans were calling each daddy. And I'm not even gonna lie. In Louisiana, in southern Louisiana, there is that, how can I say this, slang of calling somebody Lil Daddy. I did grow up hearing that. I'm not even gonna front. And I'm not even that old. I was born in the 90s, right? But calling somebody Lil Daddy is something like a lot of New Orleans and Baton Rouge boys used to do. Like, I feel like growing up in Monroe, we were all about son. It was like, son, what up, son? Shit like that. And I don't remember I never called anybody daddy, baby, none of that. Poppy, none of that. See, that's that New York. They act different. They act different up in New York. Anyway, the movie reviews will continue. I'm going to continue chopping it up about movie reviews because so many of the same topics that I was covering on my channel about politics, society, culture, history, you can do the same thing with the movie review. All the stuff that I was covering about racism in America, we talked about that in Jungle Fever. We talked about that in American Fiction. We talked about that with a Book of Clarence, right? All the things that I wanted to say about other parts of the world like colonialism, we did that with The Handmaiden, right? So there are different movies that cover the topics, and movies are something that we can bond with, right? Because we can bash on Trump all day. We can bash on white supremacists, racists who post the craziest stuff on social media all day. But when we talk about these stories, when we talk about these movies, they sort of come more alive. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I hope that makes it absolutely clear what I'm trying to break down with y'all. Anyway, let's talk about this. In Ghana, and see, I was just talking about this in a live stream last week. I did a live stream last week apologizing for my use of the F word because there was a black man that was on my penis. So I wanted to, show him how much I love black people by extending my hand in marriage to him. Right? He didn't accept it, and I'm heartbroken about it. But hey, all good things came to an end because I still got to keep my girl. I didn't have to switch teams. Anyway, so that happened, and I made a live stream talking about these black authors in Africa who are writing books that could get them killed because they're talking about their black experience while being gay in Africa. And wouldn't you know, we turn on the news today, and what's the headline say on Reuters? Ghana Parliament passes stringent anti-LGBTQ law. I just spoke about this, and y'all should be paying attention to what's happening, and I'll stand on this. If you are a homophobe, you are anti-black because there will always be gay black folks, and we should never bash our gay black brothers and sisters, ever. So I'm going to jump into the comments from JS Ventures. He says, movies allow for us to experience the infinite subjectivity of the world. That is very deep, and that is very dope. That is a very good comment. See, the good thing about this channel is that I get to connect and build with and hear interesting comments and be hopeful that there are more smart people in the world. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but comments like that let me know that there are smart people watching my channel, and that's all I really want. I really want smart people watching my content. But let's break this down because you know what? Somebody left a comment saying that my channel sucks because I'm only doing movie reviews. So I'm briefly going to cover some political topics, some social topics related to different people, but mostly black people and what's happening with us right now and talk about it. So let's really talk about this Ghana law where they are criminalizing being gay. This was published in Reuters February 28th, so yesterday. Ghana's parliament passed legislation on Wednesday that intensifies a crackdown on the rights of LGBTQ people and those promoting lesbian, gay, or other non-conventional sexual or gender identities in the West African country. Gay sex was already punishable by up to 3 years in prison. The bill now also imposes a prison sentence of up to 5 years for the willful promotion, sponsorship, or support of the LGBTQ plus activities. So I'm going to talk about this right here. People say, oh, the gay community, the trans community, the bi community, all of them, they promote that lifestyle to children because there is a conspiracy theory in some people's minds that gay people only reproduce by hurting, molesting, sodomizing children. This is not true. This is not true. It is not true. And I'm not a gay person. I'm not a gay person, and I don't expect to be the best advocate for LGBTQ plus issues, but it is not true. You cannot help what you are attracted to. I'm attracted to big booty broads with curly hair. I can't help it. I can't help it that I like big booty broads with curly hair. Therefore, that's why I have my wife. I can't help it that I like what I like, and neither can any gay person, especially a gay black person who is living in a society that is very homophobic. It doesn't make sense to constantly try to attack people who are the least. Gay people in any society make up less than 1% of the people. Ghana has a multitude of problems. It's one of the poorest nations on earth, despite multiple mineral resources. It's one of the top gold and coffee and cocoa producers in the world, yet and still most of the people live in poverty. Their currency is deflating at an accelerating rate, yet and still the parliament can find time to bash on a very small minority of people who only want to love who they want to love. What is this? What is this? Is this a part of Pan-Africanism? Is this a part of pro-blackness, hating on gay black people? No, it is not. I'm going to continue with the article. Going to jump into the comments here. Yavuz 9000 says, please stop hating me. I don't know who you are, Yavuz. I've never met you before. You've never jumped in my comments before. So I don't hate you. I don't hate anybody. I love all people. So let's continue here. The bill, one of the harshest of its kind in Africa. My heart is broken and devastated at the moment. That's all I can say for now. Angel Maxime, Ghana's first openly transgender musician and LGBTQ plus IA activist, told Reuters, adding, my pronouns are she, her, hers. A coalition of Christian, Muslim, and Ghanaian traditional leaders sponsored the legislation. Following the vote in Parliament, the bill will be presented to the President Nana Akufo-Addo, after which he has 7 days to assent or refuse to assent, according to Ghana's constitution. So let's talk about this. Some people might say, oh, other countries in the world can't impose their views onto African nations. They're very traditional. They're very conservative. If they don't like gay people, there's nothing we can say. Number one, first and foremost, I can say whatever I want. I love all black people, so I'll always say Ghana doing this to its gay population is absolutely wrong. It's anti-black, it's hateful, it's counterproductive. It's not doing anything benefiting the most people in the society. The gay folks in Ghana aren't the ones who are committing the most crimes or doing the things that will destroy society. No, not at all. Last time I checked, most of the West African nations have rampant corruptions. Those are cis, hetero, black men doing that. Why aren't we doing anything about corruption in Africa? Why aren't we doing anything about the African leaders who consistently rob the people of their money, rob the people of their resources, sell out to the white man, sell out the whole country to the white man? See, this is the thing, man. This is the thing. Another thing is that masculinity makes us think that speaking up for gay people makes you less masculine. You are not less of a man because you can see that other men or women who could also be your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your sons or daughters are being oppressed, are being marginalized. Being a man is about standing up for people who are weaker than you, standing up for people who are oppressed, standing up for justice and truthfulness and right. And while you might not agree with the idea of a man sleeping with another man or a woman laying down with another woman, you have to agree, or you should agree with the idea that the government saying that a person doing what they want to do with their own penis or their own vagina is not cool. It's not cool. It's not small government. It's not maximizing freedom. It's only causing more pain and suffering for people that look like us. That's how I feel. So Yavuz 9000 said clan. I have no idea what clan means. Anyway, I'm going to continue here. So if he assents, the bill becomes law. Akufo-Addo has avoided the heated debate over the bill, but said he'll react once it is voted by Parliament. Winnie Byanyima, executive director of the United Nations AIDS Agency, UNAIDS, said in a statement that the bill will affect everyone if it became law, adding that the punitive laws as embodied by the bill are a barrier to ending AIDS and ultimately undermines everyone's health. This is a thing. A lot of people say that gay folks are the ones who spread HIV, they spread AIDS. No, it wasn't. And listen, I'm not going to get into the weeds of where AIDS came from, HIV came from. I saw a few interesting documentaries that said it might have been some wild European scientists doing experiments or testing vaccines like in the Congo or something like that. I've heard that before. You know, we all heard the Kanye line. You know, I know the government administered AIDS, all that sort of stuff. I don't get into the weeds, of course, of conspiracy theories, because the fact is, right now, the number one spreader of AIDS are people having hetero, cis, normal, nasty, beast of two-back sex. Those are the people that are spreading AIDS the most. It's not gay folks. It is not gay folks. It is not gay folks. It's not gay folks. And yeah, there's a very small minority of people who are gay in Africa. And when we think about the HIV rates in Africa, it is not just a bunch of people who happen to be gay or on the down low spreading it. So I'm going to jump into the comments. JS Venture says, maybe they think they're saying fuck you to the West. Possibly. I mean, that is a big sentiment right now. A lot of people around the world are just very anti-Western, anti-progressive because the world is moving too fast, media is too quick. Listen, everybody around the world, or a lot of people around the world, have a smartphone, they're on social media, they're on TikTok, and maybe if you're growing up in some rural African village, you're on TikTok and you see a girl twerking, and then she turns around and she got that man bulge with two balls or stuff like that, you might get thrown off and say, oh, what the fuck is that? I ain't come to see that. I came here to see some TNA. All right. So a lot of people are getting exposed to that. Everybody's getting exposed to things that they normally wouldn't see, like on social media and stuff like that, right? I got a lot of white folks mad at me because they never imagined that there's an articulate, handsome, educated black man who can come and talk about anti-black racism while abroad. They never thought they would see that. All they know of black people are basketball stars, rappers, entertainers, singers, dancers, and that sort of stuff. They've never dealt with actual radical black intellectuals and thinkers and stuff like that. We're all getting exposed to different things online, and the internet brings out the worst of people. And one of the worst things that is translated from being only online to actually in the real world is unfortunately right-wing, conservative talking points and stupid shit like that. We're seeing like people actually quoting the stuff that they hear online, the stupid stuff like, oh, we need to go back to traditional gender norms, or as if gender norms were ever traditional, as if they weren't always constantly in flux and fluid. We need to go back to the way things were. We need to go back and make America great again. All that stupid shit, right? So that's where we are in this world. And unfortunately, because we're moving so fast and a lot of people are very religious, a lot of people are still stuck in their ways and stuck on stupid, we're going to see a lot of continued blowback. That's a very good point, JS Ventures. Maybe they're saying F you to the West. MS Painter said, bro, I just joined. What the fuck is happening? Number one, please remember, guys, please. My name is Simon. My name is Simon Hill. You can call me Mr. Simon, Mr. Hill, or Simon, but please do not call me bro. I love everybody here in the chat. I love Ozzy. I love JS Ventress. I love everybody who's watching and listening right now, but I am not your brother. I am not your brother. I am not your brother. I'll repeat that. I have one blood brother. That is the only person that can call me brother, and that's the only person that I will refer to as brother. I am nobody's brother. Because unfortunately, I have a lot of people in my comments who are anti-black racists. So if you're going to say something like, bro, there's no racism out here in the world, or there's no anti-black racism, number one, you are not my brother. Because somebody who speaks out and says that there is no white supremacy, there's no anti-black racism, there's no anti-black discrimination in this world, you are my enemy. You are not my brother. Anyway, we're talking about Ghana passing a law saying being gay is a crime. Why are you gay, nigga? Why are you gay? Don't be gay, nigga. You will go to jail in Ghana, nigga. Don't go to jail. Okay, let's go here. MS Painter said, how did this conversation even happen, bruv? Oh, God. So once again, MS Painter, no bruv, no bro, none of that. Ozzy said, salute to Ozzy. And Yavuz 9000 said, Turkey best. Okay, Turkey, yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's all I had to say about the stuff about Ghana. I want to know what y'all think. What do you think? Tell me what y'all think. Do you think, Ghana should be passing laws like this, saying being gay is a crime? If you're caught being gay, whatever that means, you go to jail for 5 years. You'll have your whole life turned upside down. You have to pay fines. I want to ask you, do you think this is actually cool? Do you think this is actually a part of Pan-Africanism? Do you think this is pro-black? Do you think this is helping us advance as a people? I really want to know what you think about Ghana's law. Let me know. And I really would be interested to see what the president does, because the thing is, a lot of black Americans and a lot of black people from other parts of the diaspora are moving to Ghana, and they're moving in with a lot of money, and they're moving in with, some expertise. And a lot of people are very passionate about moving back to Africa from parts of the diaspora where we grew up from or where we were transplanted to. And, some of them might be gay, and some of them might see this and say, oh, you know what? I really don't want to invest in a country where they might be hostile to my lifestyle. That's what I'm thinking, man. MS Painter said, it's their country, to be honest, and their religion, too. Number one, what do you mean by their religion? It's not their religion because there is no one religion in Ghana. Ghana is a multi-religious country. It's Christian, Muslim, animistic. So there are different faiths there. And yes, it is their country, but we're talking about in the context of Pan-Africanism, pan-blackness. Now, MS Painter probably is not black, or he does not care about Pan-Africanism or pan-blackness or fighting white supremacy. But what we care about on this channel is actually fighting white supremacy and dealing with anti-blackness wherever it appears, whether that come from white folks, whether that come from people that look like us, or people that are off-white. We care about all black life. And does an LGBTQ law that banishes black people who are gay to jail for 5 years contribute to elevating black life? I want to ask you that, MS Painter. Do you think an LGBTQ plus law in a country that I'm not even from, does you think that elevates black life? We're not talking about the specifics of whether a nation can do it. We are talking about should they do it? And does that push forward the cause of creating more happiness, freedom, and equality for all black people in a world that is anti-black, in a world that is white supremacist? Will you answer that question, MS? So JB said it's their business. Once again, JB says it's their business. I understand that it's their country, it's their laws, and people have the ability to not want to go to Ghana, not want to naturalize in Ghana and that sort of stuff. But we are talking about advancing black life. Now, imagine, JB, this continues to happen throughout Africa. We might say it's not our business what happens in Ghana, but let's say I was a black South African, and let's say this sentiment spreads to South Africa. Well, it wasn't my business in Ghana, it wasn't my business in Congo, it wasn't my business in Namibia when all these countries started passing anti-LGBTQ laws, but then I have a gay black brother in South Africa, or I have gay black friends, or I have a girlfriend who's a lesbian and stuff like that. Now she has to fear for her life in a country like South Africa if I was from there because the country decided to pass anti-LGBTQ laws. This is why we need to talk about the issues. But now you guys are quiet. MS Painter is quiet, JB is quiet, and that's because I assume that you too are not black, or after that, you are not Pan-Africanist, or you're not pro-black, or you're even worse, pro-white supremacy. So you view this as a good thing. The idea that black men will lock up other black men to go to jail because of their lifestyle. This is what you probably would want to see. All right. Yavuz 9000 says, I want to make racial argue with you. For first, Yavuz, you need to get an English class. So if you want to have an English class, you can contact me via email. You can pay me. My classes for Turkish people, I start at about 15 euros an hour. You can send me your PayPal information. You'll pay me for 1 hour of class, and then I will help you get better at English. But I will not punch down. So JS Ventures said, with all the tribalism in Africa, focusing hate on another group is incredibly dumb. Absolutely. This is one of the problems in Africa. We've spoken about this on my channel before, but the tribalism that exists in Africa is something that really needs to be addressed. And this, I believe, is an extension of it. They view the gay community as a tribe. So JB says, it's not accepted over there. It's not going to change. Well, people said the same thing about slavery, JB. They said, well, in America, they've kept the niggers in chains for 300, 400 years. Might as well keep them in chains. They said the same thing about Jim Crow. Well, they kept the niggers at the back of the bus. They kept them at separate schools. JLB, under those conditions, we should think, well, it's never going to change. So JLB, once again, is proving himself to not be a black person or somebody who seriously considers the implications of what he's saying. Seriously, we should never take it for granted that something will always be. If we took it for granted that something would always be, we would literally still be in chains. We should be always imagining a new world with new freedoms, new opportunities, and more equality for more people. Not just saying, well, this is the way it always will be. This is the way it always will be. Communism, brutal totalitarianism, communism that existed in the Soviet Union, where they were oppressing their people. That lasted for, well, close to a century. We could have easily said that will always be. No, nothing will always be if we decide to change it. We decide to change it. That's the same talking points people said to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Nigga, it will always be. You will always always be at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. I refuse to accept that. That's not how I live my own life, but JB is a person who probably lives his life that way. He is poor, he's probably ignorant, he's probably very stupid, and yes, he will always be poor, ignorant, and stupid because he thinks nothing's going to change. Ozzy says, 100% agree, never be satisfied with the status quo. Absolutely. So I want to talk about another topic. I'm going to get off Ghana real quick. We're going to talk about the presidential election. We're going to talk about Biden and Trump. Now, you guys know that I really, really dislike Trump. And I really don't love Biden either. And I would encourage you, all of you, to vote and to vote for your best interest. To vote for your best interest if you are an American. If you're not from America, I encourage you to encourage other Americans to vote for the best interest, right? But I find it very interesting that right now there are a lot of Arab Americans in Michigan. And they came together collectively under the leadership of Rashida Tlaib, I believe, who is in the Senate or the House of Representatives, under the idea that they're not going to vote for Joe Biden in the primary. 100,000 of them. I'm going to read from Reuters right here. I'm going to read this article. Michigan's 100,000 uncommitted votes challenge Biden's Israel stance. This was published on February 28th on Reuters.com. So it says, Dearborn, Michigan, February 28th. President Joe Biden's re-election campaign faces an arduous task, uniting his party after Michigan Democrats waged a massive protest vote over his support of Israel's military campaign against Hamas in Gaza. With 95% of the votes counted, Biden won Tuesday's primary with 81%, but 13% or more than 100,000 people cast uncommitted ballots in a state where a large Arab American community and other progressive Democrats vented their anger at Biden's support of an Israeli offensive in which tens and thousands of Palestinians have been killed. I find this absolutely fascinating and interesting that people can just easily say, you know what? Trump is on the ballot. Trump is on the ballot. Democracy might be over. He literally might bring back Jim Crow. Trump literally might, gut the Voting Rights Act and make it so that black folks have it absolutely difficult to vote, damn near impossible to vote. He overturned Roe v. Wade when he wasn't even there because of the Supreme Court judges he appointed and stuff like that. Trump is definitely not for reparations. More white supremacists will be emboldened to do violence against black people under his administration, like what we saw in Charlottesville and that sort of stuff. What will happen? What will happen? The Arab Americans have said, we don't care about American democracy. We don't actually care about stopping fascism in America because of what is happening to our people in another country. Now, on one hand, I find this admirable. On one hand, I find it very admirable that they're willing to stick their necks out like this to say how much they disagree with Biden and what's happening in the Middle East. But on the other hand, I find it absolutely scary that these people are just willing to toss everything that America has offered, all these freedoms, all these opportunities, because of what is happening in Palestine. Now, I do understand a lot of Arab Americans, especially in Michigan, they got family, literally their families have been, bombed, blown to smithereens. If you talk to most Arab Americans who come from Gaza or the West Bank, they know people, 4 or 5, 6 people that have died in their family. That's crazy. That's crazy. But what do you think Trump would do? That's what I'm really trying to understand. I'm going to jump into the comments right here. JS Venture says, I want Trump to win only if he runs the country from jail. That's funny. JS Ventures is hilarious. He's killing it right now. Shout out to Avery Adams for the donation, man. I missed this guy. I missed you, Avery. Avery said, long time no see, Brother Simon. Salute to the chat. Big Dog Avery came in here. This is the moderator. This is the top dog. This is the general. I don't know who's calling me right now. All right, so Ozzy says, don't mean to sound patronizing, but those Arab voters are too myopic. Trump's Middle East policy will be the exact same, if not worse, for Palestinians. Hey, JS Venture said, yo, don't call him brother. Avery can call me brother because he dropped the chat. He dropped the chat. And besides, I recently started the no brother thing. But I'm glad you're paying attention. Anyway. No, but what Ozzy said is very real. Trump would do absolutely worse, and I really think Netanyahu is openly campaigning you to Netanyahu, like after their last meeting or something like that. None of the presidents liked Netanyahu. Bill Clinton had a meeting with him and said something like, who's the superpower here? Because Israel was like bossing them around. Obama said he couldn't stand him because Netanyahu came to like the Senate and was like talking to the people about, from the Senate floor. Like we've never had another nation's leader talk to the congressman on the Senate floor and stuff like that. Even Trump didn't like him. I don't think Biden likes him, but I think Biden really thinks like being a Zionist is like a cool thing. I think Biden just really likes things with like the letter Z in it because he thinks it's edgy and cool. You know what I mean? I don't get the point of Biden continuing to say he's a Zionist, especially when you have a swing state like Michigan on the line. Like, you know what? I got a bet with my guy, Avery Adams. I bet him in the Twitter space. And by the way, everybody follow me on Twitter so we can have these conversations live. But I bet him on Twitter space like Trump won't win. We have a $50 bet. And I'm really feeling like I'm going to have to pay this man $50. I really feel like I'm going to have to pay Avery $50 because it's looking like Trump might win if the Arabs across America continue to be this unified. I really think they'll stay like this. There are about, 1 million Arab Americans. That's a large amount of people that might stay at home or worse, vote for Trump. Think about that. That's absolutely crazy. But I find it absolutely crazy that they're willing to give up all the other freedoms because of the genocide that's happening in Palestine. This is what I'm saying, though. That's just how I view it. Because we know what the Republican administration will do to civil liberties, women's rights, minority rights, and that sort of stuff. This is why I just find this a bit disheartening. But y'all let me know what you think. Y'all let me know what you think. I'm only going to be on here for another 30 minutes. But y'all let me know what you think. I'm in the comments. I'm going to take a quick water break. It's getting hot in here because I'm turning up. But if you have any movie requests, if you have any things that you want me to talk about, topic requests, let me know. I'm only doing like live streams every now and then just to talk to the people. I went viral last week because of the Albania videos. The Albania videos sort of keep this channel afloat. It wasn't my intention to do that. I'd never spoken about this before, but like God was telling me to go to Albania or something. Like I never knew that the content I made in Albania would be so big. And it just continues to blow up. And the thing is, I just got to continue to try to create. But let's continue here with the story. So neither Biden nor Vice President Kamala Harris mentioned Gaza or Israel in their statements on Michigan's results, an omission that drew criticism from organizers of the Uncommitted vote effort. The results showed Biden's core group of supporters are still behind him, a Biden campaign official said on Wednesday. This doesn't mean we will ignore the Arab American and Muslim American population. We will not. We are not taking anyone for granted, the official said. The official said the president was working to build lasting peace in the Middle East. He's not approaching the issue as a politician, but as a commander-in-chief. Democrats overall support Biden's handling of the Israel-Hamas conflict by 61%, February polling by Harvard-Harris shows. I find that very hard to believe that most Americans approve of what's happening in Gaza, but then again, maybe because my view is like I'm online all the time. I'm watching the news all the time. I'm seeing what's happening. And I find it hard to imagine that most Americans think that what's happening is okay, even if they're barely plugged in. When you hear the news number in the background, right? 20,000 people died in Gaza. I think it was 30,000 today. It's hard for me to imagine that most Americans are just like, Biden's doing a pretty good job, unless they are really, 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 Islamophobic, Arabophobic, like they really dislike those sorts of people and they think they deserve it. You know what I mean? That's the hard thing for me to imagine. You get what I'm saying? Ozzy says, reality is people don't care if it doesn't affect their day-to-day life. That might be a big point too. Ozzy. People might not care. They just might not care because it's so far away. It's so remote. That's true. But I really think this has energized a lot of young people, like Aaron Bush now. You get what I'm saying? Like people didn't do that for the Iraq war. And Iraq was a big deal. I was around during that. You feel me? Like people weren't setting themselves on fire for Iraq. People weren't doing that for, when Obama bailed out the banks. All the other things that we've saw that have been crazy in our lifetimes. I think Gaza definitely is top notch because it's something like we're actively participating in as the Americans. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm going to continue here. Just over 101,000 votes cast uncommitted ballots, far more than the 10,000 organizers said they sought, and prompting some to speak of plans for a nationwide movement. When Democratic President Barack Obama ran for re-election in 2012, he faced about 21,000 uncommitted votes in Michigan's primary that year. So Avery says, yeah, most Americans really don't really understand what's happening. Fox News and CNN are only showing the polling results for Nikki and Trump and showing Fannie Willis and Trump's $300 million fine. LOL. Yeah, stuff like that, man. People are only getting the polls, I guess. Man. I don't know. I don't watch cable news like that. I'm like plugged into the internet all the time. So it's really hard to imagine. But yep, there are a lot of Americans that still listen to radio. They're still listening to radio. They still watch, cable news, ABC. Like, do people still wait for like Thursday to watch like their favorite sitcom? Is that still what people are doing in 2024? This shows you, man, like there's a disconnect. Like there's so many people in America living so many different lives. There are people still waiting on Tuesday night to watch their favorite new like sitcom. That's crazy. Anyway, they still play All My Children. Like they still got soap operas on TV. They still got people still watch soap operas. That's crazy. Anyway, the votes are enough to send 2 uncommitted delegates to the Democrats' National Convention in August. Our delegation plans to hold the Democratic nominee accountable for our community's anti-war agenda at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in August, said Listen to Michigan, one of the groups behind the uncommitted vote. Avery said, Denzel said it best, you're either misinformed or uninformed. Shout out to Denzel, man. Shout out to Denzel. All right, but I find this very interesting that the Arabs are like really on code like this. Now, if the Arabs can be on code like this, why can't we as black people be on code like this? Why can't we? Now, generally, we do vote as a bloc. We do generally vote, Democrat. We do generally vote left most of the time. And you get what I'm saying? But there is still a lot of like, how can I say this? Intergroup beef that we have. And there's still a lot of divisions that we have. But I wish that we, were more unified like the Arabs. But then again, the Arabs generally are unified right now just because of Gaza, how tragic it is. That's what I think. And I think maybe if something tragic happened to us, maybe we would be more unified, But I don't know. Young and the Restless and the Bold and Beautiful. Yep, they still play on TV, man. It's surprising. That Maury. I remember one time I went to a dentist's office. Man, I was surprised Maury was still on. I was surprised Maury was still on. I was surprised Dr. Phil was still on. Like, these talk shows are still on. Like, you get what I'm saying? They still, and it might be reruns and stuff like that, but they're even starting to play reruns of Jerry Springer. They're even starting to play reruns of Jerry Springer and Ricky Lake and all that stuff on TV. People still watch that. People watch TV. People watch satellite. People watch cable. People listen to radio. So maybe that's why people are like, oh, Gaza is okay. I don't know anything about Gaza. What part of Mexico is that? That's like how most Americans might think. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm going to read this last article here. So this is about Black California lawmakers introduce package of reparation bills. So they're getting reparations done. And this is a good thing. You know what? I never thought I would see this in my lifetime. I never thought that I would see the movement for reparations for our people get so big. And I think, it's something that we all can agree, I would say, is right. But it seems like impossible when we think about the odds and stuff like that. But just like how I said to, what's his name earlier, JB said, it will never change. I think it can change. I think we will get these reparations in our lifetime, honestly, because it's moving up fast. And what I think they'll do is this, how we'll get reparations. We'll probably not get it from like the U.S. government. Like the U.S. government is not just probably going to send us a check. But what I think will happen is that we'll start charging like these colleges, these businesses, these institutions that we can tie directly to a lot of people that were owned by those places or helped build those places, and then we'll get reparations checks that way. This is how I'm seeing it's going. Maybe that will be like the cascading effect, because I believe it was like Princeton or one of the Ivy League schools, they found out in the record books, like, there were descendants of the black slaves that built those Ivy League schools alive. So then they guaranteed those black kids like free college admission for all of them. Like if you were descended from the slaves who built one of these Ivy League schools, you could go to school for free and all of your family could go for free. That's a great thing. Now, that's not cash though, but that is a great thing. And that's how I think it will work. Like a lot of these woke institutions, a lot of these woke cities will probably start passing like small reparations packages or deals and stuff like that. But the movement has to always be for cash. We want that cash money, baby. I want my check. I really want my check. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not ashamed to say it. If Biden was here right now, if Biden was sitting across my kitchen table, I say, where's my check, Grandpa? Don't forget my check. Run me my money, bitch. Run me my money, Biden. Run me my money, bitch. That's what I would tell Joe Biden right here, right now. I swear to God. Anyway, I'm going to read this article and then I'm going to holler at y'all later. I'll only be here on like 20 more minutes and I'm going to go back to work. So February 21st, Reuters, California's Legislative Black Caucus on Wednesday detailed a package of 14 reparation bills they introduced to right historic wrongs carried out against the Black community. Legislators said the bills are meant to be the first step in a multi-year effort. Among several issues, they would compensate people whose property was taken in race-based cases of eminent domain, seek an apology from the governor and legislature for human rights violations, and fund community-based programs to decrease violence in Black communities. See, those are very tangible things. Like, the thing is, we can't just tell the white powers that be, hey, give us money because y'all owe us money. Y'all know y'all do. They're going to say, well, you don't have the right documentation. You don't have the right ties to this place and stuff like that. But if we can point to specific events, like Black folks just got their homes taken because the government said, give us your house, give us your land, y'all got to go, then we can tie that down to the ancestors of those people who were wronged. And that way we can get our check. Those are very good efforts. I like that. Going to continue here. Caucus Chair Assembly Member Lori Wilson said during the press conference that the package of bills aims to address how we as Californians are still affected by slavery and its successors in our own state, including redlining, theft of labor, wealth and capital, over-incarceration, over-policing, and systemic discrimination. None of the bills being proposed calls for cash restitution to be paid to individuals, garnering criticism from some members of the Black community. But the legislators said now is not the right time to try to pass direct payments given budgetary constraints, the unpopularity of cash reparations with the wider non-Black public, and the needs to address more systemic issues for Black Californians in the areas of criminal justice, education, and healthcare. Members said cash transfers will be taken up in the legislature's next two-year session beginning next year. So this is the thing, man. We got to continue to fight for the cash. So they're offering all these other compensatory measures and stuff like that, but the cash should always be on our mind. I'm going to continue here in the article. Assembly member Corey Jackson said that unless these systemic issues that make it difficult for Black Californians to prosper are not addressed first, then the good of any possible cash transfers would be limited to the people who first received it. What good is a cash payment if it's only going to benefit one generation? Jackson said at the press conference. One of the cornerstones of our reparations package is to clear the way of legal barriers, of systemic barriers, to ensure that the work we now do will last another 100 years. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I would argue that, reparations should be sort of generational. It should be sort of generational. It should be. If I get some cash, I got to make sure that how can I say, the powers that be don't trick me out of my money, right? Or that I don't, not to say that I would waste it. I would probably save my money if I got my reparations check. But I'm talking about in general, right? Generations of our people were kept in bondage. So then generations of our people should be compensated. I think that's fair. I mean, hey, Germany still pays reparations to Jewish survivors of the Holocaust. They still pay reparations to the state of Israel, right? America gives Israel billions of dollars every year, right? Maybe because America feels guilty about turning away so many Jews that tried to come to the U.S. Trying to flee the Holocaust. You get what I'm saying? Hey, if other groups can get generational checks, we can too. That's what I would say. Yeah. All right, I'm going to continue here with the story. So the 14 bills are the first legislative action from a 1,100-page report delivered in June to lawmakers by a California Reparations task force. The group, created by a state bill in 2020, worked for 2 years on its report, which urged legislators to take action on over 100 recommendations. Americans are divided on reparations for historic injustices carried out by the state against Black Americans. A Reuters Ipsos survey published earlier this year found that nearly 60% of respondents identifying as Democrats support reparations. Just 18% of Republicans do. The split is even greater between Black and white Americans. The poll found that 74% of Black Americans favor reparations compared to 26% of white Americans. Civil rights attorney Areva Martin, the lead counsel for a group of over 1,000 survivors and their descendants, whose Black community was taken by the city of Palm Springs in the 1950s and 60s, praised the first legislative steps. But Martin said cash payments need to be made to Black Californians, just as such payments have been made to other wronged groups in the U.S., such as Japanese Americans interned in camps during World War II. People get squirmish about cash payments, and they shouldn't. There is only this trepidation when it comes to African Americans, Martin said. I think some of that is because anti-Blackness is so pervasive. It also has to do with racist tropes around Black folks and our inability to handle money. I wish they didn't include that in the article because we need to stop saying that sort of stuff about ourselves. Black folks know how to handle money. I repeat, Black folks know how to handle money. The thing is, people think we don't know how to handle money because generally, by and large, a lot of us don't have a lot of it, right? And of course, a lot of people fall into racist stereotypes because they see rappers making it rain in a strip club or spending $100,000 on a chain, so they say. Stuff like that. But generally, Black folks know how to make it work with money, right? If you've been Black and broke, you know how to make ramen noodles feel like filet mignon, bro. You know how to make it stretch. You know how to make it stretch. Hell, I've been broke most of my adult life, and I know how to look good and fly in general. Though today I look hella scruffy and bummy, but I'm about to step up because I've been grinding hard this month. As soon as I get this check, boy, we gonna get swagged out. We're gonna be dripping. We're gonna be dripping. But by and large, though, we need to stop repeating negative stuff about reparations, the fight for reparations, and things that people might say about Black folks getting reparations. Because what are the talking points a lot of people say? They say, oh, Black folks are just going to waste the money. Okay, and if we waste the money, so what? It's our money to waste. And by and large, we're not wasting it. It will be a boost to your economy because if you say Black folks are going to waste it, what are we going to buy? Gucci, Louis, Prada, Ferraris, Lambos, Mercedes, basically giving money back to the white man. So what are y'all worried about? If we're so dumb and we're so stupid and we don't know how to handle the money, let us just give it back to y'all after you pass it to us. What you're actually scared of is possibly Black folks, a few of them, or maybe a lot of them, you don't know because nobody knows, only God knows, might take that money and run with it. They might ball with it. They might start businesses. Hell, we might set up our own parallel economy where we're like the Chinese or we're like the Japanese, where every dollar where we spend amongst ourselves circulates amongst our community. Is that what you're afraid of? Is that what you're worried about? Yeah, we also need to stop saying that, the people who were formerly enslaved didn't ask for reparations. Number one, that's not true. That's not true. I hate when people say that because I feel like that's a gotcha moment from like the conservatives and the racists. They say, oh, the people who actually were enslaved never asked for reparations for slavery. That's absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true. What happened after slavery is that there was a program called Reconstruction. The U.S. government actually went down south and tried to restructure Southern society. They, got rid of all the racist laws, all the segregation laws and stuff like that. Well, there weren't even segregation laws then, but basically they wanted to make sure that the Southern states would not just terrorize Black people once they set them free. So Reconstruction happened. And this is when we had so many Black men being elected to federal office and state office, and we had Black governors and Black senators and Black House of Representative people. There also was a bank, the Freedmen's Bank and stuff like that. People were putting their money into this bank, trying to build up capital and all that sort of stuff. What happens? Abraham Lincoln is assassinated, and all of those programs that were promising Black folks, 30, 40 acres and a mule, you're going to be able to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and actually, do what you want with all the boundless opportunities America provides. With the assassination of Lincoln, the next president comes, doesn't want to continue Reconstruction, and the reparations that were actually happening through Reconstruction didn't actually go through. So That's what we're talking about here. Yes, black folks who were enslaved did want reparations. That was a part of the deal. That was a part of the process. They were not, sitting on their hands idly by, saying, well, now's the time for us to get over the past and stuff like that. Some people might also say, oh, reparations was so long, slavery was so long ago, just get over it. No, we don't need to get over it. It wasn't that long ago. Most black Americans, if they're, from the soil, that sort of stuff, we don't have to go that far back. Our grandfathers, 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 grandfathers. You know what I mean? Like, I did the live stream talking about the slave owners, right? There are slave owners, descendants of slave owners who are now presidents, senators, members of the House and all that sort of stuff. They're only 2 or 3, grandfathers away from slave owners. We are only a few generations away from people who were enslaved. So no, it wasn't that long ago. And even if you take out slavery, all the wealth and all the opportunities that were taken from us during Jim Crow segregation in the South and that sort of stuff, all throughout America and that sort of stuff, when they wouldn't even let black people move to Oregon, all the different things that America has done. Come on. There are so many. There's so many reasons for us to get reparations, even if you take out slavery, right? We've only been equal citizens in this country since my father's lifetime. And my father is about 64 years old. Think about that. We have only been fully equal citizens in the United States of America since my father's lifetime. Think about that, man. In a sexist country like Turkey is hella sexist, right? Women have been equal citizens in their country longer than black Americans of both genders have been equal citizens in the United States. Think about that. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I'm counting citizenship as being able to have the right to vote unencumbered and stuff like that. Women have had the right to vote in the Turkish Republic since the beginning, right? Since the boy Ataturk did it, right? Anyway, I'm just running off at the mouth. I'm just shooting out ideas at y'all. But glad to see the Black Californians got this reparations bill, to the floor. They're working on that. Very on the fence about how to feel about these Arabs who are so quick to turn on Biden because he is doing one thing that they don't like. Granted, it is something that is wholly unjustified and wholly evil, the genocide that's happening in Gaza. But it's hard for me to say, this is the right thing to do when we have such a big threat around the corner, if Trump gets in there, we might not have a presidency again. We might not have any sort of peace and stability in America again. It could get really nasty, honestly, because Trump is going for gusto. If he doesn't win this election, he's going to jail. This man is fighting and campaigning for his life. There's, in the art of war, they say, the most dangerous man is the man who has nothing to lose. An army with his back against the wall is an army that can't be defeated. You get what I'm saying? That's the sort of energy Trump is running on. And even though he's old, he's still got that certain fire. And that's why it's very dangerous, right? He might try to do another January 6th, in November. But I'm just saying, if it really came down to this, I honestly think the Arab Americans would be better served, how can I say this? Voting for Marianne Williamson, because Marianne Williamson is the only Democratic candidate who, number one, backs reparations for Black Americans, and number two, calls for a ceasefire and an end to the genocide in Gaza, and maybe a one-state solution or a two-state solution, sincerely. But honestly, I find this hard to really comprehend what the Arab Americans are doing. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about, this anti-gay law in Ghana. It's crazy, man. It's crazy that they're, continuing to pick on the people who have the least. Which is absolutely not cool. Not cool at all. Anyway, that's really all I have to say. More movie reviews coming. I appreciate everybody who jumped into the chat. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Ozzy. Shout out to JS Ventress. Shout out to, who else? Yavuz, MS Painter, JB. Shout out to, everybody who jumped in. Shout out to J3 OSG. Everybody who chopped it up with me. I hope to see y'all again on the next live stream. If you have any topics you want me to talk about, anything that's on your mind, hit me up, let me know. Follow me on Twitter. We're going to be doing a lot of discussions on there, movie reviews, all sorts of stuff. Peace.